you've clicked on this video because you're thinking about going to Marrakech, keep thinking about that thought, because Marrakech is definitely a destination you need to consider going. For me, this is my second time going to Marrakech, the difference being we were a larger group. Recently, I've become a bit of a solo travel lover, and so this trip was a bit different because I had 3 other people besides just myself, and I'm hoping this video will speak to you in terms of how to build your itinerary and just tips and tricks as well that I found out for me. They were a first time for me on this trip. Hopefully they will give you a step ahead in your planning as well. There's plenty other content about Marrakech. I recommend watching shorts because yeah, they just get to the point a bit faster, but if you want to go into the detail, a video such as this is super good. So let's dive into it in terms of things you need to consider, places you need to consider visiting, and how to build your itinerary when you're going to Marrakech, or any place really, because this is applicable for anywhere you travel by yourself or with a group. Let's get into it. So number 1 on my list, the thing I discovered this time around whilst traveling, was downloading an offline map on Google Maps. What that does is, obviously when you leave your riad, when you leave your hotel, when you leave your Airbnb, you no longer have Wi-Fi. If that is the case, or say you just want to save on your data, you can download a certain area so that it operates offline. So what it does is basically when you are offline, you can still use Google Maps as you would normally, benefiting from, saving your data or just still being able to get around when you don't have internet. The only thing is it only downloads car routes, not walking routes. That worked really well for us in Marrakech, because Marrakech is it's a very tunneled city, so it's mostly motorbikes that navigate to places. So actually sometimes when it's saying take this route, it means motorbike route, not just car. So it worked. We could still walk the routes that were basically car routes. I don't know how it would work in other cities. I haven't tried it, because obviously you don't want to end up walking into a motorway, because no. But in Marrakech, I highly recommend downloading Google offline maps and just selecting the widest area that you're going to be roaming around in, and using that to navigate. Another thing that I would say is worth considering is getting a tour guide. Now, it gets expensive, but I think it's worth considering. It gets expensive because when you're in Marrakech specifically, everything is per person. So if you're a group, they'll try to charge you for a tour guide, and they'll charge you per person, and they'll charge you in euros. I recommended in my other video, check that out as well, because there was a list of things that I recommended, but one of them were utilizing Your Guide, Get Your Guides as a website to book things, and they were better priced, and they were not extortionate basically. And getting a tour guide, the benefit is obviously you've got someone to go around with, especially if you're by yourself. Hotels will typically offer you a private tour guide, which means it's just you and not a group. But obviously if you're traveling alone, consider going with a group, because then you meet other people. It's a nice way to meet other people. What we really enjoyed was we traveled into Marrakech around Eid time, so it was a bank holiday basically, so it was very quiet and the streets were actually empty. And if you know anything about Marrakech, it gets mad. And we got to see the city whilst it was calm and quiet, which was very nice, and an unexpected pleasant surprise, which we really took advantage of. We were considering getting a tour guide, but then when we looked at all the things we wanted to do, it just ended up being at the bottom of the list in terms of priorities. That leads me nicely into my third point. When you're planning, when you arrive, so your riad, your host, your Airbnb person will most likely take you through things that they can offer and do for you. Let them do it all. Let them talk. Let them tell you everything, including the prices. And what you're going to do is take it and say, give me tonight to plan myself and to look at everything that I want to do, and I'll come back to you to let you know what I want to book. Okay, don't be pressured to book on the spot or there and then. Yeah. Because what you want to do is go to your room and look for prices online to compare, particularly using the Get Your Guide website. I found that to be the most popular and therefore most reputable website to book things for yourself or by yourself. What happens is basically you know, you want to book, someone will contact you on WhatsApp and talk to you about pickup points, or they'll want to know like, where are you, so they can come and get you. You want to book through that website people that have good reviews, filter by highest review, because why do you want to experience or risk it with somebody that has a bad review, right? And obviously people that have good reviews, they go quick, they get booked up. So you want to book in advance the things you know that you definitely want to do. But I also would say leave room for things, you know, for spontaneity. You want to leave room to decide on the day things that you hear and stuff like that. Okay, so the hotel, build rapport with them. Okay, when I go places, I quickly identify somebody who I get and they get me, and we chit chat, you know, and so I can gauge them, they can gauge me, and then I ask them about what do they like to do, where do they like to go. And often you find gems that way. We found very good restaurants that way. We found very good nightclubs that way. We found very good entertainment places that way. We managed to get them to make phone calls, to make reservations, table reservations for us that way. You know, it just gives you a little bit more of a local, bespoke, unique experience outside of the things that are heavily marketed to tourists, basically. So I highly recommend that. And I'll put it on the screen, places that we had on the list to go and places that we did go. The Suka was one of them. Highly recommend, definitely worth it. So much fun. You have to book in advance, otherwise, yeah. Epicurean was another place that was recommended. We didn't get to go, but it looked very similar to Teatro, so we ended up going to Teatro instead. So there's so many places that to consider. Do it. Go, but make sure you obviously get local recommendations, because there's like in things in the moment, and then there's like new things that are coming up that are equally good places to go. When you're visiting places, especially at nighttime, try to get your hotel to arrange your transport, because it's just safer. It's one less thing to worry about. We were coming home in the AMs, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and we would walk back to our Riyadh, and we felt totally safe. We were fine. I'm not saying this is a recommendation. I'm not saying it's always like that. I'm just letting you know what was our experience in terms of general safety and what it felt like. But you still, you know, do your due diligence and, you know, be wise. The square. We luckily got to see the square empty, which I think is a beautiful thing, because it gets crazy. Because we traveled around Eid time, but you must visit the square. I mean, how can you not? It's Marrakech. And one way to really enjoy the square rather than walking through, because it is hot, it gets really hot. One little trick that I have is go there with cash, because it's predominantly cash and it will give you higher bargaining power. Whatever price they tell you in that market, apart from those juices that they will be selling and screaming at you for, whatever price they tell you, it's up for debate. You know, my henna went from 600 to 300 to 150 to 100 to 90. So you tell me what, like, basically haggling is part of, you know, you also have to know how to just, yeah, be a good talker, sweet talk, be charming. Don't be aggressive, because they're good at that. Be charming, and you will get really good prices. I would say things like henna, things like getting my hair done. I went to the market to get my hair done, because I went to Marrakech with an afro, with my hair out, and of course natural hair quickly becomes very hard to manage and just another thing you need to think about, and I didn't like it anymore. So I wanted to get my hair done, and I went and sat in the square, sat on the seat with the Senegalese ladies doing my braids. It's the same braids I've got underneath this wig still. She did my braids good. When I say braids, I mean cornrows, sorry. I'm mentioning all these things, the henna, the braids, because it's in the market and you get to sit and people watch. And personally, I love people watching. The things I saw whilst I was sat down, because nobody's trying to talk to me, nobody's trying to sell me anything. You just watch, the people with the snakes, the people with the monkeys, the selling tactics I saw. Just summarize Marrakech, or summarize the square rather, because it'll be unfair to say the whole city is like that. But I say this to say, or to emphasize, you can sit down and really people watch and just see the different tourists that come and go, see the different tactics they use to sell or get your attention. It's very interesting to see. Okay, so other specific things like going to the desert, quad biking, camel riding. Camel riding, I didn't do. My little sister really wanted to go camel riding, but there were several reviews, which I'm not surprised, several reviews of people talking about the state in which the camels are, because basically they're not really looked after. They're working. It's go, and the way they're fed, perhaps, or I don't know, they just basically don't look healthy. They don't look good. And it's hard because once you've paid, you're not in control of which camels or which company or which camel owner you go to. You just go and you turn up and you see what's what. It's similar to the horse riding when I was in Cape Town, and similar to the horse riding in Cappadocia. Like, these horses look skinny, you know, and things like that. I don't know. Personally, we sat out on the camel riding, but they went quad biking. I didn't go quad biking because I've been quad biking so many times, but they went quad biking and they equally loved it just as much. So it's things like that you just have to think about, and you have to read reviews. Take your time to read reviews, because people leave the truth in the Get Your Guide review. So really important. And one tip from me to you in terms of reviews: somebody will have good reviews, good, amazing, but like the 5-star ones, amazing. Go and look for the bad reviews under a company you want to read, because then you can gauge if it's bad, how bad is it? Like, would you be able to do with the bad? Or someone who leaves a 4-star or 3-star review, because they will normally say this was good, but, you know, somebody who leaves a 5-star review, okay, great, amazing. You want to see what's the bad, like how bad is it? That will be my tip to you. This is all for this video. If you want more things, check out stories, check out hashtags, check out, you know, don't Google things to do in Marrakech, because nah. You want to go on TikTok, you want to go on stories, you want to go on YouTube shorts to see what other people have said, and you want to look out for accounts that have not so many views, recent young YouTube accounts or Instagram accounts, because they are going to give you the real, you know, latest real as well. So yeah, that's another and final way to build your itinerary for Marrakech. Overall, please go. It's a beautiful, enchanting, untouched, still very original city that is obviously trying to embrace tourism and welcome people into their country in a way that is it's refreshing, because it's a very ancient city. Thank you so much for staying to the end. I will see you in the next video, and in the meantime, stay safe.